Hey everyone, my name is Latoya Dixon Smith of Systems for Photographers, and I help photographers understand and organize their business backend and operations so that they have more time to do what they love. And in this video, we're talking about the 3 things that you need before you get a website. Now, I know creating a website with platforms like Squarespace and WordPress and Wix and all these other things are really sexy, and it's really fun to do because it has all the really cool branding elements that we look forward to in building a business and brand. And maybe the processes and systems that happen in the back end that nobody ever sees, like that, is not so fun. It's not so sexy. And so we tend to neglect it. However, the longer you get into business and the more clients you start to get under your belt, you'll understand the value and the importance of having a system run for you and a system that works for you so that you can manage that better. So that's why in this video we're going to be talking about what are those 3 things that you need, what you can implement in your business back end to help address all of these, and as any other questions that may come up in the comments that I'll be reviewing after this video. So let's get started. The first thing that you need before you invest in a website of any sort is identify what the problem is. You have to know what a problem is. There has to exist a problem, not only for photographers, but any business in general. If there is no problem that needs to be addressed, there's no business because nobody's going to go out there and pay for it, right? And the problem may also be that there are other people in your area offering the same thing, but they're not addressing the same problem. So it's important for you, before you get a website, before you really start getting into business and considering yourself a business, is understand what is that problem that you're going to be solving. So I'll give you an example. So think about it. There is a product on the market out there that allows anyone, if they're cold, to still be able to hold a remote, hold a laptop, read a book, or, hold food in their hand as they're staying warm, right? So the previous problem to that, and that product is the Snuggie, of course. The previous problem to that was that if you're in a regular blanket, you're going to have to sneak your hand out, get out of the blanket, get cold for a little bit to go get any of those things or hold any of those things. And that was a problem for people. And the folks at Snuggie, they solved that problem with that product. Okay. So the second thing that you need before you get a website is understanding what is the solution that you're going to have for that problem. So now that you've understood the problem, you've understood, what are the things that people really need that they wish that they had, and that you're going to be the person that's going to solve it. What is that solution going to be? The solution for the Snuggie folks was that they're going to create a blanket that has like armholes and that people can stick their arms in and their arms still be covered, but their hands could still be out if they wanted to. And they could have their hands inside if they wanted to, but they have that flexibility. That was the solution. And then when you identify that solution, then the next step, which is number 3, what you need before you start a website or before you invest in a website, is figure out what your offer is. That's how you make money. If you don't have an offer, you can't make money. And a lot of people, especially photographers, because I've been guilty myself, is what I run to do is I'll go put up a website, say I take pictures, post it on Facebook, and then wait for people to come. And you don't really have a strategic offer or any sort of service offerings that really guide people through the process, because you don't have one. You don't have one. And so that's what you really need before you get a website. You need to have an offer, because you know what that problem is, because you know how you're going to solve that problem and how you're going to uniquely solve that problem different from anyone else in the market. You're going to create a unique offer as well. Now, your offer can include all the things like, all of the features, all of the details, all of the elements of what it includes. Specifically for photographers, that may be how you're delivering the images, how many images you're going to be delivering, how long your session is going to be. All of those things you can take into consideration for what your offer is. But your offer has to address both the problem and the solution. And then that way people can really hone in on your message. And it could be something that, you know, it could be something that people really grasp onto, and for them to really seek out what you do over anyone else. And that's why you want to know these three things before you have a website, before you drive people to that website to book you and ask you all these questions about what you do. And maybe you don't even know what you do, but you're going to act like you do. But no, because people can really pick up on that. So make sure before you get a website, you know those three things. You've identified what the problem is in the market that you're going to be solving. And then photographers, don't overthink this. It's not as complicated as you're probably thinking. Just keep it simple. For instance, I noticed a problem in this market for photographers and creatives alike, that we rush and get into all of the branding, all of the fun things about putting together a business before we get our systems in order. That's a problem. And the reason that's a problem is because once you get a few clients on the books, and you know they're at different stages of the process, and you have trouble managing them, you don't have a consistent way people are paying you, you don't have a good way to communicate with clients, or sending you emails, or sending you texts, or sending you Facebook messages, they're sending you all of these things, and you don't have a process in place. When you get to a session, you're kind of all over the place. You don't really know what's going on. Your clients are leading you and you're not leading them. You don't have a process. You don't have a system. And that is the problem that I'm here to solve. And my solution to that is my 4-step basic business setup, which I have outlined over here, that I teach in my Systems for Photographers community. And the offer that I have right now is a systems audit. So what is a systems audit? We take an hour of our time together on a recorded video call, and we go over what your current processes are. If you have some, if you don't have any, that's fine too. We're starting from a blank slate here. And we go over at each step of the process, what are your systems? What are the processes? What are the action steps that you're taking and that your client is taking, so that you can lead a really smooth work session and workflow, okay? And I offer that. If you head to www.systemsforphotographers.com, you can learn more about it. But again, I hope you consider these three things, especially if you are just getting started and you want to learn how to set up your back end. Consider that. Consider the three things. Know and identify your problem, have a solution for that problem, and have a great offer. All right. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.